My guest is Toks Omishakin, the Director of the California Department of Transportation, also known as Caltrans. Toks, welcome.
Thank you, Sam. Thanks for having me on. Excited to spend a little bit of time with you this afternoon.
Toks, since you've taken the helm as the Caltrans Director, a little over a year now, almost a year and a half, we've gone through some unprecedented times in history, not just in California or Caltrans, globally, with the pandemic, with all the changes that are going on. What were the lessons learned? How did that impact you, Toks, in the direction that you wanted to take the department with? Were there any lessons learned?
Yeah, absolutely, Sam. Thanks for starting us off on a note. I don't think you can start a conversation these days on a sense of direction, whether past or present, where we're headed, without really thinking about the previous year. I don't think anybody living will say they've had a tougher year than last year was. But for us as a department, no doubt a year full of adversity and full of challenges. But what was clear to us was that with those adversities and with those challenges on many fronts, not just COVID, by the way. I mean, we had things like fires, more than 4 million acres of land burned in the state, and Caltrans was part of the emergency response team to help address those challenges. So challenges in many fronts, not just COVID. But with those challenges, we knew that it meant there were going to be opportunities for us to deliver. And what happens sometimes is when we run into those roadblocks, when we run into adversity and challenge, we just kind of stand down and sort of recoil. But we stood up. And so if there's one thing that is very clear about us as a team, as a department, it is that we are as resilient as it comes, and that we can adapt to the changes around us. And look, I'm obviously biased. I'm one of the leaders of the department. I lead the Department of Transportation. But I'm not sure there are a lot of other departments that could still function at the level that we function at through all the storms that hit us. And so the resilience we have is to be commended. And that's one thing we learned. And also the importance of having a sense of direction, a vision. Because when storms hit, Sam, when they hit, if you don't know which way to go through that storm, you're going to get lost. The storm's probably going to take you away, in figurative and probably literal sense. But for us, we were fortunate that before the pandemic hit and all these other issues, we were clear about we were already working on our strategic plan. We were working on a long-range plan. We already had that 5 priorities laid out. And so when we were getting hit, we said, look, here's where we're going. We're moving forward. And we recognized as we were going through the storm that those issues that we identified, those priorities, they were even more important than we thought they would be.
You mentioned your priorities, and you were clear, Toks, when you came on board with Caltrans. You were clear in communicating your top 5 priorities: safety, modality, efficiency, effective, and innovation, and partnerships. Now, why partnership? Why is partnership so important to your goals?
Yeah, very simple. Sam, because we can't do it alone. We can't accomplish anything on our own. If you think about yourself just as an individual, and think about the fact you used to work for this organization, think about the organizations you used to work for, at no point did you accomplish anything significant as a person or as an organization without the assistance, without the help of a unit, of a team, of a group, of a set of people to help you get there. Every time, a promotion, whatever it was, we got a project done. At no point did you just say, hey, I did this all on my own.
Partnership, as you pointed out, Caltrans cannot do it alone. Industry cannot do it alone. So we need partnership. We need partnership with all kinds of stakeholders and some non-conventional stakeholders. Today, you kicked off the safety summit for the department, and safety is and will remain to be number 1 for Caltrans employees, as well as industry, as well as the traveling public. How do you see partnerships helping the department and help the state of California in making safety still our #1 priority?
Yeah, another good question, Sam. So, look, when you think about 2020 and the challenges we saw from a safety standpoint, we were hoping that the numbers would trend more positive, but they trended more negative, unfortunately. So, increased speeding, despite the drop in the VMT, increase in fatalities, increase in serious injuries, not just in California, but across the country. So, numbers going in the wrong direction. What we know works when it comes to safety, what we clearly know is working in certain countries and certain communities is a systems based approach, thinking about the safety challenges as a system. And when you think about a system, it's just not one unit, it's multiple units. So it's uh, partnering with people like you and the contracting community to ensure that our work zones are as safe as we can possibly make them with whatever measures we need to put in, automated flaggers, buffer zones, whatever it may take to make sure our construction zones are safe, but also for the people who are moving, who are driving, who are walking, who are biking, ensuring that we are designing a system. And again, notice I said designing and building a system, not just their behavior, even though their behavior is important. Our behavior is important. The system we build and design must be as safe as it can possibly be for the users of the system as well. So partnerships is really another form of thinking about our work in a system. The fact that it takes multiple units, multiple entities, stakeholders, sectors to get us to what we need to get to. Law enforcement, advocacy groups, business groups. And so we're going to continue to grow those partnerships because we can't get to the numbers we want to get to in those reductions without partnering with key players across the state.
What is your vision for Caltrans? At the end of the day, where do you want to see the department heading under your leadership?
Sam, we recently rolled out our strategic plan for the department. Now, after a year's worth of work from our executive board, our leadership team, working throughout all levels of 22,000 staff agency, making sure that as many people as possible knew about it or could contribute. My vision for us is that we become a more people-focused organization. It's not just about that general outlook and for the department. That's the strategic plan that we developed is very much connected to that outlook as well. The vision statement that we adopted as a team, this 22,000 member team, says we want to create a brighter future for all Californians through a world-class transportation system. That's our vision statement. A brighter future for all. Keyword there, for all. Brighter future for all, meaning all people, regardless of level of income, regardless of ethnicity, regardless of religion. This system that we're creating and building and maintaining and operating, it should provide uplift for you. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about building the infrastructure, the widgets and gadgets we're responsible for. It's about providing that uplift, that brighter future for school, jobs, work, play. That's why we do what we do.
So to achieve such vision, Toks, it's going to take leadership. It's going to take a lot of leadership, not just only on your part, but also on your team. And as you all know, there's an aging workforce, and we have a lot of really solid, highly skilled, highly experienced Caltrans employees that are actually going to be retiring if they haven't already within at least the next short order. How are you going to breed, Toks, the next generation leaders in Caltrans? What's your strategy for that?
Yeah, so it's an important question. I mean, we hear, I think, more and more about the silver tsunami it was what we keep calling it. The fact that a lot of boomers are at a point where they can step away and say, I've put in my time, I've done my great service. And it's a lot of institutional knowledge that is at risk for us to lose and that we are losing. And so we have to be aggressive about this in the efforts to connect to that next generation of leaders to come into the department. We have to be targeted. in that aggressiveness. I mean, we need to go because we're a pretty specialized industry. I mean, we know that we need IT specialists, we need engineers, we need planners, biologists, and environmentalists. So we just have to be targeted in that. I mean, we know that we also want to target certain groups because they're not fully represented in our workforce at varying levels. And I've done a little bit of this already. I mean, I and we as a department was connected with MTI, the Manera Transportation Institute. They have the Garrett Morgan program. We've connected with them and doing some outreach to that next generation of leaders. I spoke to Cal Poly, Sonoma recently to the engineering and environmental programs there with the president of the university and the dean, Steve Brecker. President Cooley spoke to them about the great work that Caltrans is doing and the fact that we want to see more people from their institution at the department.
You know, Toks, great goals, very definitely very bold, very lofty vision that you're setting for the department. What's going to be your legacy when you leave the department? What are you going to be remembered by?
You know, I try not to spend a lot of time thinking about that. To be honest with you, you're catching me with a good question here because most of us, when we enter the space, what comes to mind is that for the period that I got the baton, that I got to hold it, I ran as fast as I could for our team. You don't want to be the guy on the relay team who gets the baton and you drop it or you messed up on your leg. You want to get it and you like, okay, I'm hammering away at this at my meters. I'm going after it. And so you have to look at the challenges you face at that period that you oversee the entity. So the things that we are facing head on today are different from what some of my predecessors faced. You know, some of my predecessors were focused strictly on project delivery, and that's great. I mean, that's a highly commendable issue. It led to us being able to get SB1 passed and other things that are helping me today and helping us today. But for our era, for this period, a people-focused organization that really wanted to deliver and worked hard to deliver on issues around climate action, around issues of equity, and around issues of safety. Those three, if we can move the ball down the field or run our leg of the relay as hard as we can for this period that we have the leadership, I will be eternally grateful for our successes.
Toks, I truly wish you all the best in your endeavor as the leader of Caltrans and the California Department of Transportation, the largest department of transportation in the country. And any last thoughts or notes or messages that you would like your industry partners or even your employees to know how they can support you in your quest and in your mission towards achieving the goals that you're set out to achieve?
Yeah, thanks for asking that as we kind of close here. So I think what people need to keep in mind in the state is that we as a department, we're evolving, we're changing, and we're adapting to where people are today. And those shifts are not easy. I like to remind people we're that comparison between a speedboat and a battleship. When a speedboat wants to make a nautical miles turn, they can just on a quick dime do it. For a battleship, it's a grind. It's a slow turn, and we're at a battleship, but we're making some adjustments, and we want to get to a place where we are fully addressing as much as we can the challenges that we face as a mobility, the largest mobility entity in the state and the largest state one in the country, and we're fully focused on that. And look, the issues around that I mentioned. Climate action, equity, and safety. That's what our team is going to be locked into. And it's coordinated between all of our plans. Strategic plan, long range plan, all those things are embedded in there. So we're focused on delivering for the people of California.
Toks, thank you again for making time today to talk to me. And thank you for being the #1 ambassador for Caltrans. Thank you again.
Sam, I really appreciate your partnership with us and your focus on this issue because it's such a big priority for us. Thanks a lot, Sam. Thank you.